Okay, so Matthew Vaughn is probably like the ultimate example of what I would call like at least the ultimate example in like the Western blockbuster scene of a vibes director, not really a storyteller. Not a criticism, not a criticism. A man's got to know his limitations, as they say, and Vaughn's is to be a vibes director, which is good. He's basically an example of a director as interior decorator. You know, the poster, the teaser poster for Kingsman was the exterior of the shop, with the clothes lined up and the shoes. And one of the things that you remember from Matthew Vaughn movies are very cool, well-composed shots of rooms and decor and wallpaper. You know, you remember the tailor shop and the bar and the church and the base in the Kingsman movies looked like. You remember what the comic book store in Kick-Ass looks like. You remember what the interior of all of those cool retro design places in the X-Men First Class looked like. You remember what places look like and feel like in Matthew Vaughn movies. And that is a good thing. Like, I'm not knocking it. Like, he is very good, even in the movies that aren't good, like the other Kingsman movies, for example. You remember the designs of places. You remember the color, the texture design of knobs and buttons and dials on things. You remember the china that Samuel L. Jackson serves the fucking McDonald's on in Kingsman. Like, he is really good at telling his design team and how to get everything right into places. He is laser focused on that, and his movies are at their best when he is constructing moments out of the locations, characters, weapons, choreography, color smoke, particle effects, soundtrack, needle drops, montage, just pure vibes with minimal amounts of character stuff put in to set those vibes up. And they usually stop working when they become more about the plot mechanics and actual story, and especially the exposition. Matthew Vaughn movies stop working when the characters have to sit down and explain what's going on to each other. And Argylle is a very strong vibes movie that requires a lot of exposition to put the vibes in place. So it's not as good as original Kingsman or Kick-Ass, which are both near pure vibes movies, but it's better than like Golden Circle, for example. It kind of feels like a Netflix original movie, like Red Notice or Six Underground. What is the genre of this? Is it a comedy? Is it a mystery? Is it a spoof? Is it semi-serious? Is it slick? Or is it just basically made up of classy actors in cool clothes, being in places and doing cool things, looking cool, and then what was this about? Who knows? But like with a lot of money and style and a little bit more weirdness draped over it. Or, you know, it actually also kind of has the feel of like the Chinese blockbusters that don't generally bother releasing here, but I imagine that the first description was probably something more people are generally familiar with than to a Western English-speaking audience. To the plot of this, the idea here is that Bryce Dallas Howard is playing a spy novelist, and that is to say a novelist of books about spies, who has created a very popular spy character called Agent Argylle, who is played in fantasy sequences dramatizing the events of her books by Henry Cavill. He has a sidekick played by John Cena, works for an agency, spoof James Bond stuff. The gimmick of the movie, her books are sort of notable for being true-to-life plot elements for otherwise sort of silly spy novel stuff. One of them, the manuscript yet to release, may or may not have described an actual espionage problem that has yet to be fully played out by a rogue spy agency operating throughout the world. That rogue spy agency is now coming to get her because it believes that she either has some kind of unknown to her predictive power of actual events that it wants to use to find out what has happened to one of its missing MacGuffins, or they just want to find out how she knows what she knows, i.e. is she actually an operative, and using that to write it into her books. A good spy operative played by Sam Rockwell has come to rescue her and take her to another place to also find that out, presumably for good reasons, but can she trust him? They have to go on the run. And also there is a twist to all of this right at like the midpoint of the movie that we are not supposed to spoil. Which is one of those things that, like, I wish they would stop doing this if there is, in fact, like a twist to a movie. Stop putting it in the marketing. Like, I know everyone remembers The Sixth Sense and everyone coming out of that movie and telling everyone, this movie is amazing, I can't tell you why, just go see it. The thing is, none of the trailers and previews for that movie told anyone that there was some big huge twist in the last couple of minutes of it that was gonna like make what was already a pretty good movie really, really good. So now, when you go into a movie like this, that's already, okay, it's kind of messy and a little shaggy, it's both too long and also takes too long to get going. And then by the time it does get going, you kind of wish that like the better part of it was longer and the less good part of it was shorter. You spend a lot of it trying to figure out what a twist is going to be because you know that it's coming, and the problem with that is that the actual twist, which I won't give away, they asked us not to, so I won't, just can't live up to, I think, what a lot of people might be building up in their head as some kind of like big, elaborate, weird twist. And no, it's actually, it's a solid, makes sense. Oh, okay, hey, cool idea for a movie. But also, you're probably going to figure it out. I did, because I was told that there was going to be a twist, so I was waiting for it. Whereas if there wasn't one, you'd probably like surprise people, and people would have said, oh, wow, cool, suddenly it's a whole different movie for the rest of the movie. Okay, wow. But the good news is, other than that, once they've like locked things into place and you know what the movie is and the movie has started, yeah, you know, Matthew Vaughn does great vibes, and these are great people to have great vibes with. Sam Rockwell is in this movie to be a little bit sarcastic, a little bit laid back, very cool, and just, you know, dance and shoot and be just the coolest guy on screen without trying, and he's great. If you've seen Sam Rockwell in other movies and say, I want to see him do all the stuff that he's good at, he does great. He is like he's been the secret weapon in a dozen great movies, and he's great here. Bryce Dallas Howard, super talented, super likable. She's gorgeous. She gets to really flex and do all kinds of different stuff in this. Because of the spoiler stuff, it's very difficult to describe a lot of what happens or who else is in the movie or what it's about. The action stuff is great. It's all stuff you've seen Matthew Vaughn do a dozen times before, but he does really good at it, and no one makes these kind of action scenes work quite like him. They're completely ridiculous, over the top, doesn't really like mean anything. Like there's nothing other to be derived here than that was cool, that was funny. It's basically designed to be a compromise Valentine's Day movie of, yes, it's a romance, but also tons of gunfights and hot chicks and car chases and stuff blowing up. But it works. It's solid. There's a lot of fun business with a cat, and they really milk the hell out of, hey, look, we're doing business with a cat. It's that kind of movie, but it's probably like the platonic ideal of the best version of this kind of movie. And, you know, I did leave in a pretty good mood, so maybe I'm being too generous, but I had fun with this. It would be nice to see, like, Matthew Vaughn get behind a movie with more to it, but like I said, he is one of the undisputed great pure vibes filmmakers, and there's a lot of great pure vibes filmmaking in this. So yeah, 7 out of 10. It is a bunch of fun. I don't know if I will remember much about it like a week from now, but I had a good time. Yeah.